Good morning, it's November 13th, and this is To My Liberal Friends. Are you better off than your parents? And that's an age-old question that just about everyone asks as they get older. For my generation, I think the answer to that question is a resounding yes. And if you use the Federal Reserve data to analyze the past 4 decades of income growth, you see some startling numbers. You would find that the inflation-adjusted income, or the median household income of someone 65 or older, rose by 94% from 1982 to 2021. The increase was nearly 3 times the 35% increase among younger households. And this is a change from previous generations where incomes of senior citizens had been well below the younger households. But beginning in 2018, the adjusted median household incomes of seniors equaled that of younger households, and that has been the case since. Senior income growth has been broad-based, occurring across all education levels, household types, and income distribution. Most notably, over the past 4 decades, incomes of the poorest 25% of senior households grew faster than those of middle-income senior households. Also, the inflation-adjusted median income of senior households headed by people 75 and older increased by 140%. So what do we make of this? Seniors' remarkable financial status today is primarily thanks to decades of savings as well as continuing to work later in life. The increase in income from investing household savings and higher earnings from working past 65 account for 80% of the growth in the average senior household income. News reports that baby boomers weren't saving enough for retirement were wrong. And this brings me to the topic I'd like to discuss today. Social Security has often been considered the third rail of politics, and most politicians are loath to touch this entitlement program. But the facts are out there that sometime around 2034, the Social Security fund will begin to run out and something will have to give. Either benefits will be reduced, estimated to be about 25% in Social Security checks, or Congress will have to appropriate more money to keep the program solvent. And I would hope that some politicians would finally show some courage and begin talking about some solutions. 2 U.S. senators that were retiring at the end of 24, Mitt Romney from Utah and Joe Manchin from West Virginia, have openly called for an independent commission to study the entitlement programs and find some reforms that would lead to financial stability. As could be expected, there's not been a rush to move forward on this proposal. Some Republicans have quietly suggested that Social Security needs reforming, but every time they do, Democrats pounce and say they're going to take your Social Security away, thus energizing millions of seniors to write to Congress. But there are some sensible solutions out there, and I'll offer what I think would be one step towards saving Social Security. So here's my take on the situation. When the Social Security Act was written in 1934, the median death age in the United States was about 65. And that's why the number was so important in getting benefits. For years, it was the full retirement age. But over time, we now know the median death age has continued to creep upwards, and now it's just over 76. And that means we're living longer and drawing benefits longer. The other factor that must be considered is that we're not only living longer, we're also working longer. Right now, you can collect your initial benefits at age 62. If you wait until age 70, you'll receive your maximum benefit. It's about an 8% increase per year that you wait. I personally waited till I was 70 to begin taking my benefits. But I want to stress this is a very personal decision, and the 2 factors that influence when you take your benefits are 1, do you need the money? And if you do, you got to take it. And 2, how long do you think you're going to live? Most experts say the break-even point is around age 81. Well, several years ago, we increased the full retirement age from 65 to 67 and phased it in over a couple of years. It was increased a couple of months each year so as not to adversely affect those nearing that age. And that's the model I'd like to see implemented. I would change the ages for benefits from 62 and 70 to 65 and 72, and I would phase them in over several years. This would recognize that we're living and working longer. And of course, Democrats would immediately scream and yell that we'd be forcing people to work longer. But guess what? They already are, and many by choice. So it's kind of a hollow complaint. The moment you get an agreement on that part of the equation, I would increase the wages subject to the FICA tax. Currently, it's 6.2% of the first $160,200 of wages, an additional 1.45% for Medicare. The Medicare part goes up to $200,000 with additional 0.9% on wages over $200,000. But once the age changes are agreed to, basically increasing how much you pay in the Social Security fund, I would increase that limit to $250,000 and keep it indexed for inflation. Then Republicans would jump up and down and say that's a tax increase. It would be, but it would create more money coming into both Social Security and Medicare and less going out with the age change. And remember, it only affects income above 162,000, and then it would be income over that. So it's not affecting the majority of people. It's really taxing higher earners. Now you see how difficult it is to get any reform. Both parties would try to weaponize it against each other, and the losers in all this are the American public. But the public needs to understand that something has to be done, and right now those entitlement programs make up about half the federal budget, and it's only going to grow in future years. My proposal is only one that I'm sure are many. Conservatives will say we should end the Social Security program or privatize it. Those may be solutions, but I believe they're not politically attainable. Social Security is not going away, and Congress is not going to cut benefits. If they don't find some form of reform, they will simply have to supplement the trust with tax dollars. But nothing will happen until the American public starts looking at the program and demanding some changes. And groups like AARP will have to be told to quit scaring people when any change is proposed. Like the old Midas Muffler commercial said, you can pay me now or you can pay me later, but guarantee you're going to pay me. This has been To My Liberal Friends. Thanks for listening.